Cool 98.7, Bismarck Mandan's greatest hits. It is Wish With You, and joining me now is Jocelyn Lamoureux. She's a former women's hockey player at UND. She's also going to be playing in her third Olympic Games in South Korea next month. Jocelyn, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So first off, I want to talk to you about the UND women's hockey program. We're coming up on, I guess, a year of the program being removed, and obviously you and your sister were very vocal about it, not just about the fact that the program got cut, but the way in which it got cut, with a lot of the players finding out on social media. And, you know, as we come up on the year anniversary of that, have you noticed, because I know you still spend time in Grand Forks from time to time, I mean, have you noticed the impact of that program not being there anymore?
I guess Monique and I have been out of Grand Forks right now for this season just because we're in residency with the national team. But I think the impact of that program being cut is going to be seen, I think, years to come. But I know my sister and I, and there's a lot of local Grand Forks girls hockey supporters that are committed to still growing the sport at the grassroots level. So we're hoping that we can, do our part and try and offset that balance with UND being cut. But we'll see. I guess the immediate effects are still to be determined.
Well, piggybacking off of that, I mean, obviously a lot of young girls in the Grand Forks area and really across the state kind of looked at that program and at those players as role models. And, you obviously being part of USA Hockey and being a former member of the team, I mean, how do you plan to, remain a role model for those girls, moving forward so that way they still have someone to look up to even without that team there?
I guess just providing opportunities and continuing to provide opportunities for girls that we didn't necessarily have growing up. And it goes beyond our sport. I think it's really important that girls continue to participate in youth sports and high school sports. And it serves as life lessons. And you learn teamwork, you learn, work ethic. And, it's delayed gratification in a lot of ways when you're competing for a championship at the end of a season. And so I think we're just hoping that we can continue to provide the opportunities we've been trying to the last 3 years with our camps and outreach work, and hopefully continue to do that and expand what we've been doing when we get back home in a couple months.
Talking with Jocelyn Lamoureux, former UND women's hockey player and part of Team USA as well. She'll be participating in the Olympics next month, and we'll talk about that in just a second here. But you are also a very vocal voice in getting women's hockey on a level playing field with men's hockey, and obviously you guys did get that pay raise, and that you were kind of contemplating whether or not you should continue with your career or not, because obviously you had to be able to make a living. So obviously you still are playing hockey. I mean, do you feel things are where they should be now, or are you still working towards something else to get on a more level playing field?
We're definitely still working. We were able to accomplish a lot with the contract that we were able to sign, and it's definitely going to help out players that are currently on the national team now. And then we're hoping that it has a really big trickle-down effect, and that more girls will have opportunities coming up through the younger ranks in the U18 program and the U22 program. But I think before we were able to get that contract, I guess I looked at the next year. It was really up in the air on what I was going to do, and whether I continue to play or not wasn't really going to be determined on if I was good enough or if I thought, my time was up. It was more going to be determined on if it was a financial burden to continue to play and try to have a family at the same time. And now that option can be made, or that choice can be made, I think with the right things in place. And if I feel like I want to continue to play after this year, I can make that decision. And if I don't, I can make that decision without it being forced on being a financial burden on my family.
What would you say is the next, I don't know what term to use, but the next big fight, if you will, with women's hockey? What is next now? What do you really what's the next thing you really want to see?
I think what's going to be important in the next year or so is that the two leagues that are in North America, so the CWHL and the NWHL, I think need to merge, and there needs to be a one league in North America, and I think that's going to be a big step for women's hockey moving forward, is to have one league so that the best players are all playing in one league. So you don't have the Canadians in one league and Americans in another. I think that's what I would like to see, and I think that's really going to help grow the sport in a North American aspect, and then hopefully Europeans come and play in the league. I think that's definitely what I would like to see.
Talking with Jocelyn Lamoureux, former UND women's hockey player. She's from North Dakota. She'll be playing with USA Hockey in the Olympics in South Korea next month. And let's talk about that. This will be your third Olympics. You played in Vancouver and in Sochi. Coming away with a silver medal in both, so I'm sure you are yearning to get that gold medal. This year, which teams do you think give you guys the biggest challenge in getting that gold?
Well, Canada has definitely been, I think, our best competition so far, but Finland has a really good team. They have an amazing goaltender. She played at Minnesota, Norradi, and they have some really talented forwards, and so they're a really good team. And so you have to be prepared to play Finland. You can't just show up and expect to get a win on any night. And so I think Canada, Finland, and then Russia. They're competing under the Olympic flag, but will still hold their fourth place seed. So we'll have them in prelims. But definitely, I think Canada and Finland. But really, just I think our team is focusing on ourselves and what we need to do to be prepared every single night to play our best. So that's our competition, but we really just have to focus on ourselves.
And as you prepare for the Olympics, what does a typical day look like for you?
Right now, our team has been stationed in Tampa, Florida, for the last 4 or 5 months, and so we're in Florida for another 2 weeks, and then we'll leave on beginning of February for Korea. So we'll get there about a week early before opening ceremonies. But a typical day, we'll have practice, training. We'll normally have a skill session that's off ice, and then games are kind of sporadic throughout the week. So depending on the week and when the games are, we'll determine what we're doing the day before and after as far as how heavy our workload is. But it's normally 1 day off a week, and then just pretty much prepared to be at the rink all day until we're told we're good to go home, basically.
Talking with Jocelyn Lamoureux, former UND women's hockey player, and of course she'll be in her third Olympics next month. And then lastly, I just want to ask you, obviously having played in 2 former Olympic games, what is, other than playing the games themselves, what's kind of your favorite thing about being at the Olympics and being part of that experience?
I think what's the last 2, I think the coolest moment was walking in opening ceremonies in 2010. We weren't able to go in Sochi because we played at noon the next day. So 2010 opening ceremonies is pretty special. But in general, being able to share moments with the family that's able to come. So our parents will be there again. My husband will be there, and we have an aunt and uncle that are coming. And so being able to see them after games or on a day off, and just kind of share that Olympic experience with the people that have helped us along this journey, I think is really special. And I have to give a shout out to the Ralph and the Sue Shop for really helping offset the financial cost of what it costs for just one person to go. We have 5 people going this year, and they've really been a huge help with helping sell some T-shirts and donating to our family. And so it's just being able to share that is really something that is special for my sister and I. And I know everybody on the team and Olympians in general can probably speak to that. It's you don't get to this stage without a lot of people helping you along the way.
Will this be your first time ever in South Korea?
Yes, I've never been to South Korea.
All right. Well, she's Jocelyn Lamoureux, again, former UND women's hockey player, part of Team USA. She'll be playing in South Korea in February. And Jocelyn, thank you again so much for taking the time. And obviously, we are rooting for you and all of Team USA, and we wish you the best of luck in the Olympics.
Awesome. Thank you very much.